Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Night Knit Chat. My name is Noelle, and this is my friend
Kelly.
And we are coming to you from Southwestern Ontario, Canada. And we finally have a day that feels like semi-summer.
Yes, finally.
So it's a little bit warm. I feel like it's going to be, if it's going to be this warm all summer, I'm going to have the hair off the back of my neck. But Kelly's lucky. She's in her basement, so it's cool for her.
It is. I actually thought about putting a sweater on tonight. But yeah, it feels good to get back into the linen dresses. Today was definitely our first, I would say it's definitely, like yesterday was warm too, but
yesterday it wasn't, we had a breeze off the lake yesterday.
Yeah,
So yesterday was a little cooler, but
so
today was
much nicer.
Very nice. So
today is also pretty darn windy. So I went to work today at the fairgrounds and my hair just got bigger as the day. It just kept growing and growing. I felt like a sheep ready to be sheared. So
okay, so thank you all for joining us. We are a mostly knitting podcast. We should say that.
We're not a weather podcast.
We're not a weather, although we do tell you what it's like. So, because a lot of times that influences what we're knitting.
Yes, so, absolutely.
But we are mostly knitting, and this is our weekly get together in the Knit Chat Cafe with all of our friends, and we love to share with you here, and we appreciate everybody that watches after the fact that can't make it at a scheduled time. I mean, if this had been years ago when my kids were little, there's no way I could have sat down and had a Knit Chat at 7:00 at night. So we appreciate everybody here. We've got people from all over. I see that Katie was here very early, like just after 4:00 this morning. I don't even think I was up yet. I don't even think I got up till 5 this morning. So
I wonder what time zone Katie is.
Well, yeah, I don't know what time zone she might have been from. Yeah. So yeah, so we're glad that you're all here. It was a busy week. Last week was a busy week, especially the weekend. So we had, for myself, we had 2 family birthdays. So my son had a birthday, and he shares a birthday with Penelope, who turned 3. So we had a big family celebration at my son and daughter-in-law's. That was a lot of fun. 2 of my sons and my daughter-in-law ran a race in St. Clair Township, actually not too far from you, Kelly. They ended up in Sombra, but I believe the start for the half marathon was like in Courtright. So they ran all the way down the river.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then I think the 10K start was Sombra. So anyway, it was a beautiful morning, Sunday morning. It was a little cool, which was good for the runners. But Molly and Isla were running around, so they kept us busy and kept us warm while we were watching and waiting for them to come in. So yeah, it was not nearly as cold as it was on Saturday when I was at the Fergus Fibre Festival. It was freezing. It was like winter. It was so cold. Like, it was a great festival. It really was, but it was so cold and it was so windy. Like, at one point, I didn't even want to take my hands out of my pocket to touch yarn. And I had thought about bringing my also hat, and I thought, oh, it's like May. There's no way I'm going to need, and I should have had it with me.
Yeah.
Should have had it with me. So,
yeah. I had a very busy weekend too. Unfortunately, it did not involve any yarn, but it definitely supported a very worthwhile cause. Some friends of ours are the organizers of a fundraiser called Operation Talk to Me, Johnny, and it is in support of suicide awareness and mental health. And they lost their son to suicide, and he was in the military, and we got together on Saturday. We set everything up on Friday, and then on Saturday during the day, they had a fantastic day out at the Brigden Fairgrounds. They had like the big blow up slide obstacle course for the kids. Oh, yeah. They had a live band outside. They had food vendors. There was an obstacle course for adult teams to compete in. And there were several vendors and also some booths promoting, again, the cause and the mental health, mostly. All of our first responders from the area were there. It was a very good day. It was very cold, as you said. And so we were bundled up to stay warm. And then in the evening, we had a roast beef dinner catered by the amazing Brigden Fair team. And then we had a dance that night. So we actually stayed out there overnight and we tore everything down after the fundraiser. And then we got up Sunday morning and took the stage down and everything. So it was a really good weekend for a good cause. They raised some great money to help support 2 local charities. And it was a wonderful day. So very early weekend, very busy, but no knitting.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that I missed the Fergus festival that I wanted to go to for a long time.
First time that I've been there, and I really did enjoy it, barring the weather. And I think Joanne had said knitters have no excuse for the weather. I know, Joanne, but we just need to pack that stuff and say we're bringing it regardless.
I'm sorry, we are just not expecting to have to pack our heavy sweaters and our gloves
May
and hats
31st,
and everything.
like May 31st.
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
and
when we
I was actually
last
watching,
weekend. Go ahead.
Well, I was watching the weather, and the weather did not say that it was going to be that cold.
Oh, it said it was going to be that cold here, but the weekend before, when we actually went camping and froze our little tucuses off, I had my Canadian toque with me. I took gloves, and I've left them in the trailer because even heading to the East Coast, I have anticipation that even in the summer, there could be some very cool evenings, and I may very well pull that toque out again and wear it. So,
yeah. Well, I know Ross was watching the weather with me, and I was 3 hours away basically from where you are, and they predicted that it was like going to be over like around 12, 13 degrees. It was not. I think it was like 6.
I think we saw 10 here was the high that I noticed on my watch, but it was so windy and the wind was so cold. So anyway, hopefully we get a little bit of sunshine headed our way, some good weather finally. But yeah, it was. So we both had really busy weekends.
Yep. Very busy.
Okay.
And even on the Friday before, Molly and Isla's school had Grandparents' Day. So we had a lovely, Ross and I went and spent the morning there and saw the kids' classrooms. And the school put on an amazing lunch for all the grandparents. And it's just a small school, and they had over 250 grandparents there.
Wow.
So I thought that was really nice. Yeah. And of course, like, especially at this age, like by the time they get to grade 6, 7, 8, they may not be so thrilled about grandma and grandpa coming to visit them at school. But, in kindergarten and grade 1, they're pretty excited about it.
Absolutely.
So nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So
Shirley, yes, it was an amazing event for a very worthwhile cause. And I was honored to be a part of it in whatever small part I had, but it was amazing to see a community come together. And I believe they're going to repeat it next year. So I will definitely get the word out in my community for that a little sooner. So yeah. Okay.
So where should we start?
Well, we have stuff to give away.
Should we
start with that? That's always a good place to start. Giving things away is always fun.
Yep.
So we have some leftovers from last week. I'll let you take that.
Okay, well, last week, and I'll just bring up some pictures again. Last week, we talked about Jennifer Shields Toland and her Beachside Crew, which is her latest pattern that was released last Wednesday. And last Wednesday on the show, we gave away a pattern prize, which has already been looked after. But we also said that through the week, for anybody that commented on what colors they would knit the Beachside Crew in, we would do another couple of
color options came in.
I know. I'm like, oh, I could do that. And I'll just show you a couple of pictures of the pattern here first, but it's an amazing pattern and it's very, very versatile. So here's some of Jen's pictures. So you can see there's a choice of doing a long sleeve version. There's a short sleeve version. There's wider stripes. There's narrow stripes. And she's got a very nice split hem at the bottom of it, which just makes for easy wearing. I know I actually wore mine to Grandparents' Day. And that day was actually a perfect day for it because mine's long sleeved. And it was sunny, but it was still a little bit chilly. So it worked out perfectly. But Jen gives you lots of options. And even when you're doing it, she tells you exactly like how many stripes for for each of the stripes, like how many rows to do. Same within the shorter version. And she also guides you on how to do your stripes so that you don't get that jog at the back. So you get a nice kind of seamless jog. So I'll show you a couple of pictures of mine. So I did the long sleeve version. I did it exactly to pattern. So I followed exactly the number of stripes that the pattern called for. And then she's also got options at the top for the neck. There's a rolled neck, a crew neck, and an I-cord neck. So you can choose any of those. There's just another view from the side. And then here's another view showing the split at the side, which makes it really wearable, because even if it comes down like a little bit, there's no hindrance when you walk. You've got kind of like that nice split that just gives you that little bit of extra room. And for a summery sweater, gives you a little bit more airflow than kind of being closed in at the bottom. So we drew 2 more prizes, and I'll just bring up the winners here. So the first one is Sandra Crowley, 9784. And she said, for the Beachside, I think I'd pick cream and light gray for a low contrast, which surprises me, as I'm one to knit with bright colors. I think the cream and the light gray would look amazing. Yes, and it would be just subtle. It would be perfect for summer. So congratulations, Sandra. And then our second winner was Helen, YL4CW. And she said she would love to knit the Beachside Crew in yellow and cream or a silver gray. Like, yellow is the big color of the year.
It is. It's like
yellow
everywhere.
It is everywhere. I need to get a yellow sweater on my needles. I have yellow yarn.
You have yarn.
I have yellow yarn. I just need to get it on my needles.
Yes.
So congratulations to both Helen and to Sandra. So this particular giveaway, Jen is going to gift you a pattern. And then she also said that you can pick a friend and she will gift a pattern to that friend as well. Yes. So if you send your information to...
Oh, sorry. I forgot I had a job to do.
Okay. If you bring that up,
I'll grab it. I'll grab it.
Okay.
I get so caught up in listening to the color core combos, and yes.
Okay, so if you are one of those winners, you can contact us at knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com, and I will make sure that the information gets passed along to Jen, and you will get your patterns. And for anybody else that's watching tonight that didn't win a pattern, we've got a special code.
Consolation prize.
So if you use the code Beachside Love, you will get 20% off the pattern. That is only good from now until midnight tonight. So if you're watching now and you think that you would really like to do that pattern, then go in and grab that. Like I said, there's great details. There's lots of variations that you can make with the pattern. And I'll just put the name up there too. So it's the Beachside Crew by JST Knitwear Designs. And again, there's multiple different variations that you can knit of the pattern. So if you really want to knit it, it would be a great summer tee. And, and it's a great, the one that I knit with the long sleeves, and I do have mine here to kind of show you too, with the long sleeves, is a great transitional piece. So mine is done in Holstarn Coast in 2 colors, red currant and dove. And it's knit exactly to the pattern with the wide stripes. And there is an option of waist shaping, which I did do. It's very subtle, but it just brings it in a bit. And then I did the roll neck edge on mine, which I really like. It's kind of different. I usually always do a crew neck like this. So it's kind of nice just to have the little...
It kind of gives it that little bit more casual sweatshirty feel.
And a more like summery vibe. So even though this one is long sleeve, like I've got a pair of pants that's almost that color, it would be perfect for like a cooler evening in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, so we want to thank Jen for supporting the podcast and being so generous with the giveaways. And again, I'll leave that running just for a little bit longer. But if you do want to grab a copy of that pattern, just use the code Beachside Love. So,
okay. What else? Okay. So now, well, you know what? We've got more stuff to give away tonight. We've got our sock knit along wrapping up, and then we have another special giveaway from Knit City. So how about we just sort of like move on, and then we'll break up our normal segments with giveaways.
Okay.
Does that work?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you have any questions?
No.
Okay. I had a couple. Okay. So
should be a short segment.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
So the first one was about one of our viewers who just got a new drop spindle and some fiber and is wondering if there's any good tutorials out there for like a very beginner. So I kind of had a look, and this is a resource that I do use sometimes even for like spinning on an e-spinner, but I did find this. So this is Drop Spindle for Beginners. It's by Jillian Eve, and Jillian Eve has a great array of tutorials for any type of spinning, whether it be on a spinning wheel, an e-spinner, the drop spindle. I believe she might even have some supported spindle, but this one was specifically Drop Spindle for Beginners. And it had quite a lot of views, so I think it would be a good place to start. So I hope that helps. I've never spun on a drop spindle, so I don't really know. I just kind of took a look and to see what I could find. So if anybody else has any ideas, maybe they can just drop them in the comments there. So, and then the other question was about carrying stripes and how you, and I should show again the back of this.
Linda wants to know too, Noelle, did you hold the coast double in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is held double because the gauge of the sweater is 22 stitches. So coast single is quite thin. And so I did hold the coast double, and I used a 3.75 millimeter needle. But I want to show you the back. And so there's where my stripes are joined in there. So Jennifer does in the pattern give you some tips on how to do your join for the new color so that you really hardly get any jog. And the question that I had was about how to do that without breaking your yarn. Like if you want to carry the yarn. If I have stripes that are more than a few rows, like unless I'm probably doing 2 and 2, I'm most likely going to break my yarn because I like the look of how it looks better with the ends sewn in. I find that the jog is less. I don't know if anybody else has any tips on what to do to carry the yarn so that your jog is nice and that you don't see any of the yarn popping through. For one thing, I would kind of leave the yarn loose if I was, then you run into a problem. If you leave it loose, there's more of a chance that your stitch is going to pull out and not give you a nice jog. But if you go around and you catch it with your other yarn, then there's more of a chance that the yarn's going to go through because you've caught it behind the other color. So it's kind of like, I guess you have to decide what you're happy with. I don't mind sewing in the ends, so I cut and sew in the ends.
Okay.
And that's right, Tracy. A lot of times it's good if you move the join to the side seams because then it's not as noticeable. Now on this particular pattern, I believe that she left the join down the middle of the back because of the split seam when you get down to the bottom.
Fair enough.
Your sides are going to be emphasized because you've got that split hem. So then you don't really want to emphasize the jogs at the side of the pattern.
Yeah.
So
we've got lots of comments in and around this. Beth said that she did the thin stripes on hers and she carried the yarn up instead of breaking.
Okay.
But again, as you said, if you're doing thinner stripes, sometimes it just makes better sense to carry that. Also, okay, so a couple of people already popped out and bought the pattern and said the code is working fine. So thank you for reporting that back. And also about the spinning, Gail says that Abby Franquemont is also excellent for spinning. So you could check her out as well.
Yeah, it's like wonderful. If you just go into, you don't even have to go into YouTube. You can actually just type in, like, all I did was type in drop spindle tutorials and just put that into your Google and you will get an array of different ones and you can kind of look at them. I've said this before, you can find a lot of tutorials. If you look at one and it's not giving you what you want, different people explain things differently. So don't give up just because the first tutorial didn't explain it the way that made it easy for you, because it all depends on what type of a learner you are. And some tutorials are better than others for some people. And that's good that there's a wide variety of them out there.
So Lena, the code is flashing at the bottom of our screen. It's Beachside Love, all one word,
all
in
capitals. Yep.
And that will get you 20% off.
Yeah. And I will pop that in again tonight before we're done. So.
Okay. And Sarah says, not free, but the School of Sweet Georgia is excellent for spinning content. And that's, I know that Felicia knows what she's talking about when it comes to spinning. And she also does weaving, knitting, crocheting, and dyeing as well.
Okay, now Isabel says if she's doing stripes on a pullover, she makes a purl stitch on each side to mimic a pieced garment, and that hides the color changes in there.
Yes.
But again, that would have to be a pattern that the changes are at the side and not down the back of the, so it depends, like Depends on the garment, I guess.
Yes.
So.
Okay. We had one more question in here that got answered. I just want to make sure that she saw it. EJ was saying help for her knit companion. She lost the highlight bar, how to get it back. And Julia has already popped in a response,
Okay.
but I just wanted to make sure, EJ, that you see it. If you go to your edit feature and tap on the highlight line and click on the show, that will bring your bar back.
Okay. And Leanne says that Craftsy has also been very helpful for spinning tutorials. And Craftsy does have a lot of other tutorials as well. They do have knitting tutorials. I know I've actually need to get in and look at some of them because I've got a whole year of it that I got there was some special on somewhere, and then I keep forgetting that I've got it, but I really need to go in and look at a lot of those. So, but yes, there's tutorials for everything on Craftsy. Like there's sewing, knitting, cooking, decorating. So.
Okay, and Candace chimed in as well that you may need to hit the edit button at the top and then choose the highlight icon on the side. Then you can adjust the slide for the depth of your highlight. It may have just been made small somehow. So,
yeah.
Oh, here we go. Okay, we're never going to get through this tonight. Leanne says there's a link on her channel.
That's probably where I got it.
Yeah. So for the Leanne has podcast, as I'm sure you all know, called The Knitty Stew. And the link on her channel gives it to you for $1.49 for the year of premium, which is it's pretty sweet.
I know. And I even figured out I can actually put it on and I can actually cast it to my TVs.
Yes, absolutely.
Everything in big.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Okay. And Lauren says that her library actually offers Craftsy for free. So that might be something that you could check out as well. I should look that up on Libby because I use all of my library apps. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, maybe we should move on to what we're wearing and then we'll do another giveaway.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Yes. I'm wearing a couple of things that I made, but only one thing that I knit. So the first thing that I have is my Sophie scarf that I'm wearing as a head wrap, which is my favorite way to wear my Sophie scarves. And I knit this holding 2 yarns together. It is the Holst Haya. Oh, I do have a banner for it too.
Yeah, I'll look for it.
Okay. It is the Holst Haya and also the Holst Titicaca. The Haya is the colorway Rose and the Titicaca is Rose Bay. And it just makes a really, it's a really plump scarf. And basically what I do to wear it as a head wrap is the thicker part of the scarf is at the back of my neck. I bring it up, twist it twice, and then just roll those ends inside the band. It stays all day. It holds. I actually find this more comfortable to wear even than like a cotton headband, and definitely more comfortable than those things that you put on that just go over your head as a headband. After a couple of hours, they just feel like they're little tiny drills drilling into the side of my head. So I will take one of these wraps any given day. And I don't find it overly warm either because the Titicaca is an alpaca. So, I mean, that is fairly warm, but it just seems that it breathes really well and I don't really mind it. And then the other item that I'm wearing is actually, oops. Okay. I did put pictures in, is a dress that I made. And this is a linen dress. It is inspired by the Thread and Sprout nature dress. And so I self-drafted this, cut out all those curves in various colors of linen. And I used the linen from Pure Linen Envy. It's my favorite, hands down favorite linen to use. You order it online. They are a Canadian company. And the prices are absolutely incredible. And the shipping is so fast. Like you can order it today and you'll have it in your hands in a couple of days. So I swear by it. They have so many colors and they have different weights. And this is the, I think it's called summer weight linen. Okay. There is another linen that I use frequently too. It's called the, everyday linen, I think. Sarah, help me out. I think it's called the everyday linen and it is a little bit heavier, but this one is the summer weight. And I wanted to see what it was like for a dress. And I have to say, I really like it. The other linen, I think I would choose it more. Like I have made linen pants with it and I really like it for pants just because it's slightly denser, but this is a fantastic fabric to wear for summer. And I'm really happy with this dress, really happy. Okay.
Okay. And I am wearing, let's see here, the Colette tee by Sari Nordland.
I'll grab it.
And
You got it.
this is done in Durera Natura Antigone, which is 100% linen. I believe that they call it a sport weight linen. So this particular pattern, she actually calls for a stitch gauge of 19 stitches, and that's even over the cables. And I thought, well, I don't want this linen knit at this gauge. So I did a size 3. I would normally do a size 1. I did a size 3. My gauge over the course of the cables is 22 stitches. So I had to adjust the size that I was going to do. And I do have a couple of pictures. So I did this one last year, and I really do like this linen. It's really nice to work with. My hands do get a little sore if I've knit for 3 or 4 hours at a time with it, but on the whole, it feels a lot better than knitting with a cotton, where I have to hold the yarn strand down tight to get gauge.
Yes.
And then so it's a really nice tee, really nice and drapey. It was a really fun knit. I could easily see doing this pattern again, like in a winter version, because I just like the whole design of it, and it keeps your interest because you don't have a whole lot going on, because you've got like cable row, but then you've got a whole lot of just kind of like a wide rib before you go back to the cable, and then you get the eyelet. So it kind of breaks it up because you just want to get to the next section on it. So I did this on a 3.75 millimeter needle. I believe that Sari Nordland calls for like a 3.5 millimeter needle. I do not know how she gets 19 stitches with a 3.5 millimeter needle. So there's a case where you have to really know what your gauge is, because I know that if I just went with that and didn't do anything, there's no way. Like if I was on a 3.5 millimeter needle, I'd probably get about 23 stitches and not 19 like she's calling for on the pattern. And that would make a huge difference in the overall garment finish size. So anyway, I would definitely recommend the pattern. It was fun to knit. And this color of Antigone is called Mandarine. And I got this at the Knitting Loft in Toronto. It is 262 grams in this. The Antigone comes in 100-gram skeins. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to work with. It's a nice finished fabric. The drape on it is really nice. So, yeah. Oh, and Leanne said that Sari Nordland is a very loose knitter. So you kind of have to know your own.
Yes.
Like your own gauge to get a good idea. I mean, and I know various designers. Like I know I will never get Caitlin Hunter's gauge on the needle that she uses.
Nobody ever gets Caitlin Hunter's gauge.
So.
But I love her patterns, and I can make them all work.
And I can make them work. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. That's where your gauge swatches come in.
Yes.
Here I am telling people to do gauge swatches.
Do as I say, not as I do.
That's right. But I'm willing to rip out if it's not right.
Absolutely. Okay. So before we leave this little part, Mary was wondering if with this linen. Oh, firstly, Chantel asked if we could add the link in the show notes. Yes, we can do that. I'll send that. And then also Mary was wondering, do I need to wear a slip with it? I do not. I don't know if I don't know if need to is the right word or not, but I just reached out behind me there and I pulled up a piece. This is the lighter weight linen. So just to give you an idea, like I realize it's not backlit on any light or anything, but well, that's a hot pink. So that's not really a fair justification, but like you can't see my hand through it. So I would say, no, I don't wear a slip with it. And I don't know if anybody can see through it or not, but it's not, there's one linen lighter. It's called Featherweight. So this is definitely heavy enough for summer dresses. Yeah.
Okay. So do we want to do the next giveaway?
Yes. Okay. Let me just answer this one question. Sorry. Angie wants to know, she said that I was inspired by Thread and Sprout. Can I say what the dress pattern is in the show notes? So there was no pattern for the dress. It's a dress that she makes. It was her own self-drafted pattern, but it's a very basic dress. Like the bodice, there's no darts or anything in it. I just drafted this out on craft paper. she does have a tutorial for sort of like how she creates the line work on the dress. So you could certainly have a look at that as well. And I found her on Instagram, and she goes by that. Her name on Instagram is Thread and Sprout. So if you go on there, that will give you the links to her other places that you can find her so that you could make your own. She makes tops. She does a lot of pants that are styled this way as well. It's just a very basic, loose fitting dress. I have ties on mine just to kind of snug it up at the waist, but yeah, have fun. It's a lot of fun. Okay.
Okay, so we came to the end of our monthly sock knit along.
We did.
Okay, so you go ahead with that, Kelly.
Okay, so, and I left my notes upstairs. This is going to get dicey, friends. I did it upstairs, and I always do it down here. Okay, let me see if I can remember. To date, there were 2,089 pairs of socks in the thread, and that is from now until the end of May. And each month we do 2 draws. Yep. The first one is for a pattern, which is generously donated by our friend Natalie, who is remembrances_Natalie Sheldon. And she has fantastic patterns, a lot of socks, colorwork socks, Advent type socks, non-Advent type socks. She even has the big Christmas stockings, and she has a sweater in there as well. Yep. And a couple of sweaters.
Well, kids version and an adult's version.
Yeah. So lots to choose from in there. So we drew a winner for that. And the winner it was number 268, which is Diana, who is Diandora on Ravelry. And she knit, I believe these were they a worsted weight or a DK weight? They're a thicker sock.
Yeah, they look nice and cozy.
They look very cozy. Could have used those in Fergus, I bet, right?
Definitely could have. And if I had them, I would have put them on.
So we'll go through to the second winner, and then we will let you know how to get in touch with us. So congratulations, Diana, for that. And then the second prize is always a sock yarn prize. And this month we have Hot from Knit City, Montreal. This was a skein that I purchased at the Ginger Snap booth for a giveaway because I thought it was so beautiful and it just really needed to be socks. This is their lush fingering base called Alpine Glacier, and it really is. It's
very pretty.
It's gorgeous colors. Look at so even though it kind of has a winter name, I really think this is some beautiful yarn for some summer socks.
It looks kind of beachy.
It does, right? You could pair this even with like a neutral tan or a cream if you wanted to do different colors. And then you get 2 pairs of socks out of this, really, for sure. But anyway, it's absolutely beautiful. So that is the prize. And the winner is, oops. Oh, you pulled it up too?
I did.
Sorry. Is Sonia. And she was number 1200. Oops, pulling something else off there. 1,200 out of the 2,089. And actually, I just noticed it.
I know. They look like that. Look
at that. They really match well. Hopefully you don't mind working on similar colors, and hopefully that color is really something you like, because this is quite similar. I didn't even notice that until right now. But yeah, beautiful socks. This looks like it might have been, I'm thinking like an opal yarn or something that's already self-patterned.
Yep.
But yeah, beautiful sock. It looks like a shadow wrap peel, which is familiar because just finished one of those.
Colors look great together too.
They do.
Those colors, they do.
Yeah. Okay. So, ladies, I'll go grab that banner.
Okay. So for anybody, again, this is anybody that's won anything, you can contact us at knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com. For the pattern prize from Natalie, I will give you a code that you can go into Ravelry and pick whatever pattern that you want. If it's a physical prize that we're mailing out, we need your full name, your address, and your phone number. So, okay, because sometimes the names that are on the slips are not names that we can mail to.
No.
So,
okay.
So do we want to start with finished objects?
It'll be short for me. I have none.
Okay. Okay. I have two. I have two.
Okay.
I have two. Okay. So my first finished object is my Water Song Scarf by Yarn Indulgences. So this is a pattern by Deborah of Yarn Indulgences. When we were at Knit City, Montreal, she had some finished ones in her booth, and some of her helpers were wearing some of them. It's a very, I'm going to actually take the banner down there so that you can actually see the shape of the scarf. So you can see how it's kind of knit in sections. So it means that when you're looping it over, you don't have a whole lot of bulk where you're kind of like looping it through. And if you loop it the right way, you're going to see the right side on both of your tail ends.
Yes.
Right. So you're not seeing a right side and a wrong side. So her samples are done with her fluff yarn, which is, I believe it's 76% Surrey and 24% silk. And that's held double on those ones. So I did mine in Cardiff Cashmere Classic, which is a DK weight 100% cashmere yarn. And it comes in 25-gram balls. So I just did a shorter one. I was kind of inspired by Mignon because she had just a little one on that was just tied once. So this is what mine looks like. So the Cardiff Cashmere is, you can see it's got little flecks of some highlighter colors in it. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to put this on with a backward mirror, but I did try it on. It's too hot to wear it today. Let's see if we can do this. So I just kind of did mine so that I measured around my neck and just gave a little bit of space. I didn't want to block the cashmere out too much because it just feels so nice and cushy and soft right at the moment. Okay, I'm going to have to not look at it or I can't do it because it's backwards.
Just feel for the dents. There you go. Perfect.
But it makes such a cute little scarf.
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
does.
You
really
can do that and just kind of put it over at the side. You've got no bulk. It should stay like that. You don't have to knot it or anything. And then you've got, where are the ends? You've got both of the ends are showing the right side of the fabric. And in this case, the way she's designed it, even if you look at the wrong side of the fabric, it basically just looks the same as the right, except there's not that slip stitch detail down the middle.
Right.
And it's finished off beautifully with I-cord detail on both sides of it. Okay, take it off. It's too hot. But anyway, so one skein of the Cardiff Cashmere Classic. So this was 19 grams. It's 25-gram balls. This took 19 grams.
Okay.
And I mean, I might have been able to get the bigger one if I blocked it out after, but I really like the squish and the softness of just the cashmere. But it would be, again, so easy to make. The patterns really easy, like keeping that edge is really easy to do. She gives you explicit details if you're doing the full scarf as far as how many rows to knit in each section.
Okay.
And there's a wide variety. You could knit it with like a 4-ply. You could knit it with a DK weight. You could even knit it with a worsted weight, right? You're just going to adjust your the length or the width that you go to. In fact, I think I might do a couple in linen because I think they'd make a really cute linen one for the summer, just to give like a t-shirt a little
nice
bit
idea.
of a
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so really, really happy with how that turned out. And then my next finished object is my Lacy Loop Tee by Other Loops.
Okay.
And here it is. All done. I don't have any finished pictures yet. I just took it off the blocking mat today.
Yes.
This was so much fun to knit. This is Sonder Yarns Fleece and Flax in the colorway Radio Flyer. This took 1.75 skeins. It is a fingering weight yarn. It's got 400 meters, I believe, in 100 grams. So this pattern actually calls for, I think, a little bit of a thicker yarn, but there was one of the helpers in Sonder Yarns booth was wearing this. And I think everybody that walked in there probably bought yarn for it. But anyways, okay, I did some finished measurements. So the actual pattern in the size extra small, which is what I did, excuse me, the actual pattern is supposed to finish 109 centimeters. I'm losing my voice. 109 centimeters. Mine is 102.
Okay.
But I went down a needle size because I knew I didn't want a 20 stitch gauge.
Okay.
I have windows open, so now I'm allergic to the pollen. Okay. You talk for a minute.
It's your project.
We'll talk about it. Okay, I think I'm okay.
Okay. Monica wanted to know what was the name of the scarf that you showed before, and it was the Waterfall.
Water Song.
Water Song
scarf.
by Yarn Indulgences. And is that how she finds it on Ravelry? Is it listed under Yarn Indulgences?
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Yarn Indulgences is the pattern designer, but if you type in Water Song scarf, all one word for Water Song, then you'll find it.
Okay.
And it will be
linked. We'll add it in the show
notes.
notes as well, which will be up tomorrow, friends. Tomorrow.
Yes.
Always the day after. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Carry on.
So I did the extra small, which is supposed to have a finished bust circumference of 109 centimeters because it's a pattern intended with positive ease. I didn't want that much, and I didn't want to do it at a 20 stitch gauge with this because it's a fingering weight yarn. So my stitch gauge is about 22 stitches. So mine ended up finished 102 centimeters, which still gives me lots of positive ease. The finished length of the garment was supposed to be 52 centimeters. My row gauge was shorter. In fact, not only was it shorter, but I believe that I have an extra repeat in here. Okay. And mine finishes 47 centimeters. What else can I say about it? The fleece and flax is a 75% BFL, 25% linen, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. The drape is amazing on the fabric.
Excuse me. Now you've got me
now
coughing.
You got it.
What can you say about the before and after blocking with that
yarn?
I'm going to show you. I have it knit with mine. Okay.
I took some pictures.
Okay.
So I was a little bit concerned. When I had finished the first sleeve, because you can see my one sleeve there is blocked, one sleeve is not blocked.
Okay.
So when I finished the first sleeve, the armhole opening seemed to like scrunch it in because it wasn't blocked yet. So the length wasn't blocked out, because it really did. I found the biggest difference was in the blocking was the length once you opened up that lace and the garter stitch. Right. So you can see in the two sleeves there's got to be like a good 1.5 inches in the difference in the length in just those shorter sleeves. I'll just give you a couple more. There gives you a good idea of what it looked like.
Yes.
So I blocked the sweater with one sleeve done because I thought, okay, I'm not sure this is going to work. Before I do the second sleeve, I want to block this and see what I'm getting. And again, there you can see the difference in the blocked fabric and the unblocked fabric. So you can see how that garter stitch just kind of
really
sucks everything
opens up
in.
too. Yeah.
The lace is not opened up. So huge difference after blocking. And even the drape and everything of the yarn was a huge difference after blocking it.
So did you find then that it was tricky to measure because it wasn't blocked? Like, did you find whatever length you finished your sweater at, were you good with that, or did it end up coming out a little bit longer?
You kind of ended at like a garter stitch ridge, right? So you had to end at a garter stitch ridge. So when I was down to where the pattern was, I didn't think it was going to be long enough, and I just pulled it down as much as I could and measured. That's my swatch, right? And I knew that I needed to do like a bit more. And I knew that I could also adjust through the hem if I needed to. I could make the rib before the final. I could make it smaller or longer if I needed to.
So the gauge that you told us you got, that was after blocking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 22 stitches after blocking. The pattern calls for 20 stitches.
Okay.
So, and 20 stitches, I believe that one of the options that they give you in recommended yarns is knitting for olive pure silk held double, which is like a fingering weight held double, but it's a very light fingering weight.
Yes.
Whereas this is I would say a more plump fingering weight and blooms when you block it. Cause I don't think that the fabric is definitely not see-through. Like not where you have the solid, it obviously is where the lace eyelets are, but like where the other part of the fabric, it's not see-through. And I'm, like I said, I'm really happy with the drape and the way that has blocked out. So, and again, if you were knitting something else in this yarn, like the reason for the huge difference in blocking with this is because of the stitch pattern that's used. Like if you were just doing stockinette stitch, you wouldn't see as much of a difference in the pre-blocked and after.
Fair enough. Yes.
So.
Yeah. And Beth is saying the same thing happened to her when she, before and after blocking for her traveler hoodie. Cause that's another one of those,
one
like
with garter
stockinette and then garter rows.
Yeah.
So yeah, that will definitely change shape after knitting for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So the one thing that I would have liked, this pattern is by Other Loops. The only thing that I wish the pattern would have had is a tutorial, not a tutorial, a schematic. The pattern didn't have a schematic. Like it gave you bust circumference and it gave you finished length, but I would have liked to have seen like this, maybe armhole depth.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And yeah, a few more things like that, but there wasn't a schematic. So, you know, if you're someone that really likes schematics, I wish that should be almost a prerequisite to me of putting a pattern together.
Yeah, I do. I agree. Yeah. Leanne says she has a sweater quantity of the fleece and flax and she can't wait to start swatching. I know, Leanne, I have 2 sweater quantities. I have
2 more sweater quantities of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one's in this gorgeous greeny fluorescent kind of yellowish color, which I think would be perfect for this time of year. So
let's just say there were no bad colors in that booth.
No, there were not.
Not a single one. Nothing that I wouldn't wear in there for sure.
No. So
yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. Okay, so something else that I got at Knit City, Montreal, was thank you so much to Lena, who I passed at the door, and she's like, Kelly, did you get these earrings? And she was showing, not these earrings, but she was showing me these earrings, and I'm like, oh my gosh, those are stunning. So I went over and I grabbed a set of these earrings, and I could totally have them on tonight because this is one of the colors in my skirt. And look at that. They're like a perfect match. So moving forward, and actually they really match so these will very much likely be worn with this, but I just wanted to show you. So these are by she's actually a yarn dyer, but she likes to do some other things as well. And her shop is called Peche Mignon, but she has this tiny little division inside of her shop, and it's called Nictal, which in English means tiny owl. So I'm going to show you these, and then I'm going to show you what she gave us. Look at this. So what she does to make these earrings, this is polymer clay, tiny little strands of polymer clay that she then knits and puts into the base of the earrings. Look at those. Amazing, right? Absolutely amazing. They're so beautiful. And she also had, here we go, twist these around so they show right. She also makes them in a heart shape. Oh, I should have done this before, sorry. In a heart. And these are absolutely adorable as well. Show you these. Look at those. Yeah. So these ones are like a lighter blue with silver. And then these ones are, I think they're black with gold.
Oh, pretty.
They're so pretty. And these, my friends, are what she gifted for us to give away. So we're going to give away 1 pair tonight, and of course 1 pair for our friends after. So I will bring this up, we'll add this to the stage. So if you are interested to win these, okay, I'll leave this up for a second, and then I have more to talk about with her. So the hashtag is Tiny Owl. And let me tell you, these are something special. These are really something special. If you, I want them for myself, but these would also make amazing gifts for any of your friends. And she has just finished making a new batch, and she has them uploaded into her website. And once you kind of get onto this tiny owl thing, maybe what I'll do is I'm going to swap out the banner because I have something else to show you that she also gifted us that you can take advantage of. So let me just pause that one. Put this one in, Tiny Owl. And then I want to show you. So this is her website information. Whoops, just a second. I have to clear that too. So it's Laines Peche Mignon, which means guilty pleasure or little indulgence. So I think it's the perfect word. And so she has beautiful yarn, and she has also gifted us a code that you can use until June 30th this year. And the code is knitted, and you will get 15% off of her earrings. So she is in Quebec. She is Canadian. Her site, Melanie's site, does come up in French, but there is a button to convert it to English if you need to. And she has listed all of her earrings in there. And also, I mentioned she's a yarn dyer. And when I was in there yesterday, just having a little poke around, I happened to notice that her yarn is now 30% off as well. So let me tell you, this is a site that you want to go to. And so good luck with the earrings. But like this is really different. These earrings are different. They really, so
they are. I've never seen anything like them. They're really pretty.
Yes. Oh, why won't it come back? There we go. So a huge thank you also to Lena for pointing me in that direction because I absolutely love the little earrings that I got. And I know that whoever wins these beautiful hearts is going to love them as well. They're really just, there's something special. They really are something special. And Melanie, or Mel as she goes by, is absolutely a lovely, lovely person. So it's so nice, you know, when we can support our little businesses, but she's on to something. She's just on to something, friends. So I'm going to leave this up for just a little few seconds longer here. Let's see, what are we at? So we'll leave this up. She thinks this, Barb says she thinks the site is misspelled, missing the E in Lane. Did I miss something? Let me just have a peek. You're right, I did. The website. So look at the spelling at the top of the slide. Laine is Laines, and I missed that E in the website. So I can't change it now. Sorry. Apologies for that. But if you just type in Laine Peche, I'm sure something is going to pop up for you. Okay. That must mean that people are just in there buying those earrings. Okay, we're just shy of 200 entries, friends. I'm going to pop out there and do the draw. Good luck.
Okay, and we also have a set to give away next week.
Yes.
For anybody that goes in and makes a comment.
Regina
Congratulations, Regina.
Just marking that down.
Okay. Congratulations, Regina. And as with the other giveaways that we had tonight, you can contact us at the website, knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com. So, and for anybody else, if you didn't win tonight, we do have another set to give away. So how about we have them go in and look at the site and tell us what their favorite earrings on the site are?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So if you want another chance to win the earrings, then once this goes on YouTube, we want you to go into
after the show tonight
into the Laine Peche site and find which earrings you like the best and just let us know which ones they are. And then we will draw before the show next week for the second pair that we're giving away.
Yes. Yeah. And a huge thank you to Melanie for supporting us that way as well. I when I saw them and I bought my pair, I said, and then she said, "Oh, would you like some for the podcast?" I said, "Oh, I'm telling you, our viewers are going to love these earrings. These are really something special, and they really are truly something different. I've never seen anything like them."
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, do you have any whips?
Oh, I have whips. Yes.
How many whips do you have?
I have 3 that I got a chance to work on a bit this week.
Okay, go ahead. Because I talked a lot already.
Okay. Well, the first one, I'll do this one. This is the test knit that I'm doing for Jennifer Shields Toland. And this is her Riptide Tee.
I'll get the banner you talk.
Okay. So this is, as I said, it's a test knit. Pretty sure Noelle is probably almost finished hers. I am not, but I work on it when I can. That's all I can say. So I told Jen, I said, I won't be the fastest one in there. Life is a little busy right now. But anyway, I did finish the back part to the stitch holders. So it is just like a sleeve with the pattern down the side. So this is actually, it's a very similar construction to this dress. It just sort of slides off the shoulders a little bit, and it kind of, sits here on your arms as a drop shoulder. And then in the front, the riptide pattern is repeated into a, as you called it last week, and I like that term, a modest V-neck. Yes. And then the pattern will continue down the front. So I finished the left side as well, down to where she says to put it on to stitch holders. And so now I have to do the right side of the front, and then that is where the V will join. But like this is unblocked, so I know this will end up looking much even nicer. But look at the beautiful shaping in that V-neck. Like I'm telling you, she writes a good pattern, friends. She
really
just
does.
writes a really great pattern. And so I'm using the yarn that she used in her test is Pasquale Soul. It is a cotton blend. And the one that I'm actually using is a sport weight, which is what Pasquale Soul is. But this one is Queensland Collection, and it's called Dungarees Fine. And it's actually spun from recycled jeans, which that just appealed to me right off the hop. And I practically stole this from a yarn store because I think they were not carrying it anymore. And I don't know if the yarn is actually discontinued or not, but I think they just weren't carrying it. So I picked up 3 skeins, which is the exact amount that I need. And this is still the first skein. So I'm probably going to come in quite a bit under that 3. Maybe not. We'll see. But it's quite nice to work with. I know what you feel though, like when you said, you know, the linen is hard on your hands. This wouldn't be my like all-time favorite yarn to work with. I do find, you know, anytime you're working with cotton, you do get that little extra tug on your hands. And of course, I'm already still struggling with the hand. So that doesn't help me any either. But I'm really happy with this. And I love this color. This is like a true, like a cobalty denim blue. And I don't know if they over dyed it. I'm assuming they over dyed it, right? But it's really quite nice. So I'm quite happy with it. Looking forward to getting more of that done this week.
Okay. And my first one is the same. So this is how far I have in mine. So I'm actually at the point where I have to decide how much longer to go. So I did do waist shaping again. Again, that's an option in the pattern to do waist shaping or not. And mine is done in Durera Mantura Antigone again. So it's 100% linen, and this color is called Dahlia. So again, this is because this is the linen, and I find that, again, we talked last week, I'm using a metal needle, which I find hard to tighten up the gauge on. It might have been better if I had used a wooden needle, but I am using a 3.25 millimeter needle in order to get gauge, and the gauge is 23 stitches, I believe. So it is a sport weight yarn, and the Antigone is a sport weight yarn, and this will block out nicer too, because the linen always looks so much nicer once it's blocking and just like kind of relaxes it a bit. But yeah, the like when you're done the V, the neck is finished, right? Like there's not, you don't have to go back and pick anything up. One thing that I will do, I am going to go back and do a crochet chain across the back neck. She has instructions for that in the pattern.
She does.
So I've gone to my second last increase after the weight shaping, because there's so many decreases and then increases. But I'm going to try it on again, see where it is, see how long I want it. And then it's got a beautiful finishing at the end with kind of eyelets around the bottom of the hem.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So
there are quite a few people in the test knit that have finished, and my gosh, they are some gorgeous sweaters.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, so your armhole again is all finished as well when you're done, because you knit that at the same time. And I know that like this is the same yarn as this, and this really is nice for, I mean, other than if it's like, 37, 38 degrees out, which no clothes are comfortable then. But yeah, so I should have that done by next week. So,
yes.
But
Kim's asking what gauge we're knitting that at. The pattern is calling for, was it 23, a 23 stitch gauge? And I have gauge. I had to go down a needle size. The needle, the pattern called for a 3.75. I went down to 3.5 to get gauge, but I'm
down to a 3.25 to get gauge.
Okay.
So, and that's what I've got left. And again, this Antigone kind of tries to roll all over the place. So I just kind of keep it in a plastic bag so that if some of the loops come off, they're all contained in the bag. So
yes.
And that is my second skein. So it's going to be close as to whether I even need to go into the third skein of Antigone.
Yeah.
So
when will the pattern be released, Vicki?
The test
asked
is
that on my Instagram. Done on the
test
14th.
is done June 18th, I think.
Oh, I thought it was the 14th. Okay. And she mentioned it because somebody in my Instagram feed asked, and she responded. And I don't remember what she said. I'm sorry.
We'll find out for next. It won't be before next
Yeah.
week, and we'll find out for next week. So
For sure.
yes, be the crochet chain on the back neck would be to not even so much to snug up the neckline, but to keep it from stretching out, especially with
rolling, because it would
yes,
have a tendency to roll. So
and especially with a plant fiber, they don't quite have the same structure and the same bounce, like to kind of bounce back to shape as an animal fiber does. So
yes.
Okay.
All right. Next thing that I worked next whip is I finished one.
Yay!
Yay! I have to finish. Well, I have a hoe. I have a hoe. This is the. Are you gonna grab the banner?
Sorry.
It's okay. I got it. This is the Mountain's Edge Socks by Nancy Wheeler, who is Knit Sip Happy, and using yarn by Deborah of Yarn Indulgences. This is her bamboo sock. I will show you the yarn first, and then I'll show you the sock. So this is the, as I said, bamboo sock by Yarn Indulgences. My colorway is called Summer Shower. And look at the colors in there. It's so, so pretty. And this is the first one all done. So even though like on camera, you can really see the color.
It doesn't even look like you used any of the ball hardly.
Yeah, no, I know. But that's the pattern, and it's just so beautifully and subtly variegated. It has this, well, see, I get excited to show it on the sock blocker, but the beauty of this sock is to see the front view. So I'll pull it off. And look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? It's such a pretty pattern. Those mountain peaks. It's a traditional heel flap and gusset, and fits really, really well. I was wondering what it was going to fit like, because I knit these 64 stitch, which is what I normally knit. But I wondered, because this is pretty heavily cabled, and I thought, oh, is that going to like stretch with my high instep? As we all know, I thought, is that going to really pull it out across the foot? But it doesn't. It actually fits perfectly. It's a beautiful, beautiful fit. Shouldn't have expected anything less from Nancy. She writes an amazing sock pattern. So, okay. I don't have the other one on the needles yet.
Okay. So Joy said that it was her that asked the question about the riptide, and that Jen responded and said it would be sometime midsummer.
Okay. Thanks, Joy.
So we will let you know. As soon as we know when it is, we will let you know.
Yes, absolutely. That's a pattern you won't want to miss out on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So my next whip is my Bly by Ku'ua Coffee. So this is another sock in Christmas 2025. So there is what the sock looks like. So I am doing mine in Midknit Cravings, and I have one finished.
Oh, that's so pretty.
So it's all over cabled. So around the whole top of the foot, and then obviously when you get down into this part, you're just cabling the top part, and the sole of the sock is plain. So, and it does have, the heel's really neat too, because you kind of have the pattern going right down into the heel flap of the sock.
Yeah, I like that. A little bit of a
now
cable.
This
it looks like a cable.
A 72 stitch sock, and it fits me. And I would normally do myself a 60 or a 64 stitch sock. So this sock is heavily cabled. So it really brings the pattern in. And when you get down to the bottom, then the sole of the sock, I actually decreased to 32 stitches, because that would be my normal sole number of stitches. So I actually decreased that to 32 stitches, even though the pattern, I think, doesn't tell you to do that. But the top of the sock has, 38 stitches in it. So even when you get down here, you've got 38 stitches, but that's because you've got this really nice cable that goes along the gusset line here.
Right.
Yep. Right along here. And really, I changed that too. I put one purl stitch beside that so that you could actually, those cables would pop a bit. It didn't have that in the pattern.
I would have done that too. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. And then even into the toe, you can see the pattern continues right down into the toe of the sock. You've kind of got that rib detail going down into the toe. Yeah.
What a
So it's a
great
really
pattern.
cool pattern. I actually quite enjoy
That's
it.
not a
I
sock
can't,
you can knit at the coffee shop.
it is not a sock I can knit at the coffee shop. And then I've already got the second one
Okay.
cast on and on its way. And it's actually, I always find those socks, once I get to the second one, it almost goes faster because I'm more familiar with the pattern. And even though it's not memorized, I don't have to look at the pattern nearly as much as I did on the first sock. So,
Okay.
so that will be, that's June 3rd. They were supposed to be done by May 31st. So hopefully that'll be done by next week. And then I'll be on to June socks. So I got to start casting on a bunch of other things.
I know. It's hard though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to, I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to our trip for more than one reason. I'm looking forward to it because I will be captive in that truck for multiple hours a day. And that will be knitting time for me. Although, hey, this is super exciting. When we took our trailer to the fundraiser this past weekend, we stayed out there the one night. I drove the trailer. I drove the trailer. I parked the trailer. I unhooked the trailer. I did all the things. I'm like, I feel pretty, I felt really accomplished. I have to say, like it's a 25-foot trailer and I felt pretty accomplished having done that. I've never pulled a trailer that big before. So not that that's that big, but it's big enough. Anyway. Okay. Next thing that I did, I have a heel and these are the Twisting Trails Toe Up Socks by Forest City Knits. And I am loving this sock. I think
I know it was such a fun pattern to knit.
I just think this, and I think this yarn was dyed to be this sock. I think, look at that. It just pops in these little bits of colors. So the pattern actually called for a contrast heel as well, but I explained this last week and so I'll just go over it again this week. If I wear my socks with clogs so that the heel is exposed, I don't know. I just have a thing. I like the heel to be the same color as the rest of the sock. So I like a contrast toe. And what I plan to do is a contrast cuff, but I also think that I'm going to do the final 2 rows of my contrast cuff back in this again, just to give it that little extra something. And I have to say, I love this pattern. And so it is a shadow wrap heel, which I now have a heel in there. So now I just have the leg of the sock to finish. And it's not something like it's potato chippy in that it's very easily memorized, but it is something that I will admit I have to look at. So the back is, oh, and I didn't even look at that. I didn't look at the pattern. Was the back supposed to be plain?
I can't remember. I know I did it, but I can't remember. I thought maybe the pattern, I think the pattern is on the back as well.
Oh no. Well, the pattern probably will not be on the back of mine because I'm about an inch up from that heel. I don't know if I was supposed to resume. Anyway.
I don't know that for sure. Maybe someone else that's doing them can tell us. I for some reason I'm thinking, I don't know now because I don't know. I thought it was.
Maybe. Which would make, okay, in fairness, if I had a contrast heel, I think it would look okay to resume the pattern.
I'm pretty sure the pattern was on the back as well.
Yeah. But since I don't have a contrast heel, I think it's going to be just completely fine to do the back of the sock plain. See where I'm going with that? This is a knitter's choice. That's what we'll call it.
The pattern is on the back.
Oh, the pattern is on the back. Okay. Well, not on the back of mine, Tammy. Sorry. Mine will be a little bit slightly modified. Anyway, so going back to that, it is potato chippy in that it's easy to memorize once you get onto it. But as I said, I would have to watch. So whereas like a plain stockinette, I could maybe just, whip around and around and around while still watching a podcast or something on TV. With this, I do have to pay attention a little bit. But this is perfect coffee shop knitting because I can talk and look at my knitting and not lose any place in the conversation.
I have to get some things on the go that are coffee shop knitting.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I cast these on specifically to go to a coffee shop one day. So this yarn is yarn that I won, and it is the Madison State Fibre Co. And I've never seen them as a dyer anywhere. This was gifted to me that I won, not gifted, sorry, I won this from a podcast. And I believe she bought this somewhere in Chicago. And I would have to say, I am exceedingly happy with how beautifully dyed this yarn is. Like, this is consistent.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, like these little blips of color, but it is consistent from toe right up to here. I'll let you know when I finish the second one, but I'm really excited about this yarn. I really like it. Okay.
Okay, so my last whip is, I'll just find it. The Clover Tea by Lynette, who is Lean Home Samso. And I seem like I knit a lot of her patterns. I really like her patterns. And I'll show you a picture of what the tea looks like. So it's a summer tea. The yarn that's called for in the pattern is Sand and Scarnalina. And it's just like a plain tea, but it's got like a little pattern up at the top that kind of looks like clover.
Yep.
So I am doing mine in, this is Drops Bell, and this color is called Petrol. And I've just got my neckband done, my short rows done, and those first little clovers or whatever they are started. So, but like this color is just amazing.
A really
I love
good
the color. And again, here I am knitting with another yarn that's got like the cotton and the
linen,
the cotton and linen and stuff in it. And I'm like, oh, I need to knit something woolly just to have the break in between. But this I want to knit this now because I think like for like kind of now before we get into the super hot summer weather, like this weight is kind of nice. Like I find this weight's a little bit warm when you get into the middle of summer, but it would be perfect for some of the days that we're having now. And because this is actually a 20 stitch gauge, it'll work up fairly quickly. So I'm actually on a 4mm needle for this. And I know my gauge will be slightly smaller, but I know that this tends to grow.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. But then I also know that I can stick it in the washer,
throw it in the washer, in the dryer, and it's perfect.
And yes. So yeah. So I am enjoying like that. And it's amazing because this does have a totally different feel than the Antigone. Because you can really feel the cotton in this, whereas the Antigone is 100% linen. But yeah.
I don't mind knitting with the like the Bell or the Sandus yarn. I find it's considerably softer than knitting with something with a heavier linen content. It's not really hard on my hands. It's softer even than what I'm using for the other sweater that I just showed. So I don't find that I get any stress, but it's a heavier cotton. So like in the hottest part of summer,
you're not
probably a little warm to wear. Like even yesterday I had on actually my Tolsta tee. I wore that to work, and by the excuse me, by the end of day when I left, it was almost feeling a little warm once I came out of the office. So
so the pattern just tells you to cast on, doesn't say which way. So I did an alternating cable cast on, and I did instead of turning my rib inside out, I did a knit one purl and twisted rib. Well, I guess half twisted rib because I only twist the knit stitches. So I will continue those into the hem and into the cuffs of the. But
I feel that you need to with that yarn.
Yes, you need to have anything that you can to kind of tighten it up so that it doesn't stretch out.
Yes. Yeah. So, Hilda's asking if we know of a Canadian supplier for Drops Bell.
I do not. There's lots of Canadian suppliers for Lena, or there's lots of yarn stores that have Lena, but I'm not sure.
I haven't seen the Bell anywhere.
Anybody. No. So I don't know where you are, Hilda, but oftentimes we order ours directly from Wool Warehouse in the UK. So, okay. Anything else?
Not for me.
That's it for me. Did you buy anything?
Nope.
I did. So I went to a Fibre festival.
Well, absolutely.
So I couldn't come. So I have my little bag here. It says I'm not a wino, I'm a wine yes. That was from Makers Meetup last year.
Yes.
Yes. So I'll just go through. So I was at the Fergus Fibre Festival. It was so nice. We met, I'm not even going to name people because I know I'll forget somebody, but we met lovely viewers. We had lunch with an amazing group of women. I call them my flock because they helped me find yarn because I need help finding yarn.
Yeah.
So I'll show you what they helped me find. So I think actually this was Julia and Ruth that put me onto this.
Yes.
So this is, it's from Rico. It's called Make It Bloomchen.
Oh, fun.
But look, it's got little wee tiny.
To put it in front of your face.
Oh, put this in front of my face. There, can you see it now?
Maybe you're too close to it. Back it up a bit. There. Yeah, it's just, there we go. There. Yeah.
Okay, but I want to show the sequence though, because
I know, but it wasn't focusing when you got too close.
Okay, so it's got little
I can see the sequence. Yeah, it's
flower shaped sequins in it. So this is on a tencel thread. It is 25 grams, but there is 375 meters in here.
Oh,
and they had
fun.
a sample done with it where they had held it with a mohair, held double. It was beautiful. And it's just much more subtle than some of the ones that we've used. And this thread is actually quite soft.
Just a little shimmer.
Just a little shimmer. So I got 3 of those.
Okay.
And I think that as the day went on, I think the store ran out of them. I know Julia got some. Ruth was going to get some, and then she didn't, and then it was gone.
Oh, no.
But she lives not too far from there, so she can go back and get it. So I did end up getting 3 of those because I thought it would be really nice to have like a cream-colored cardigan with just that little bit of sparkle in it.
I know. I was so sad to have missed a visit with Ruth and Lindsay.
Yeah, It was so nice to see them. And then I got this skein. So this is from Moire Fibers. So it is your natural yarns, fibers, and knits. So this is a skein of there. And this is the 70% superwash merino, 20% bamboo, and 10% nylon. But kind of in a, just like a tonal shade. So there is 425 meters and there's 120 grams in here.
Okay.
So I could easily probably make 2 pairs of socks with 120 grams in there.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I got some fiber. I haven't bought fiber for a while. This was Ruth. It was 2 of these. Ruth picked one up and I picked one up. So we're going to have matching fiber. So this is from a spin-off. That's right. This is from the Hoko Fiber Co. So they are actually based out of London, I believe. So this color is called Ribbon. It is 100% Polwarth and there's 120 grams in there, but the color is just like
so pretty.
Yeah. So I got to get back to spinning. I got to say I'm going to spin in the morning, and anyway.
Okay, Julia has just 1 second. Julia has all of the names for you.
Okay.
Carol, Linda, Gwen, Ruth, Lindsay, Eleanor, Sandy, Elaine, Susie, Carrie, Natalie, Noelle, and Julia had a wonderful lunch together in Fergus.
It was great. So, and we were probably the first half hour, it took me that long to warm up from being outside. We were all ordering coffee and tea so we could put our hands around
put your hands on it. Yeah.
Okay, Joy, it wasn't a booth. It was a store. It was, what is the store there called? Julia, what's the yarn store in Fergus called?
Julia, we need
String
help.
Theory. String Theory.
String Theory. Okay.
It's called String Theory. So it was at the store String Theory. I'm sure that I did look, and I think there are some other stores that have it as well. And it was actually really cost effective. Like each of these was $8.
Wow.
So I think that's a really good bargain. I should have got more.
Give other people a chance.
And then we stopped at Twin Oak Farms. And I know I've heard of them before, but I don't think that I've seen them or been in. They actually had a truck set up. So it's Twin Oak Farms. They are in Guelph. And so I got a couple of skeins, and on theirs, you actually get the name of the sheep or the fiber that makes up your yarn.
I love that. I love that.
So this first one is a DK 3-ply, and I forget what the fiber is. It doesn't say the fiber. I'm going to have to look that up. It wasn't merino. I'm not sure if it was a Dorset or, anyways, I'm going to have to find that out. But anyway, this is a DK 3-ply, and it's from Jimmy and Friends. So, but it's so soft, so squishy.
It looks so squishy.
There's
Yeah.
100 grams here, and it is 250 yards. And I think I got this because I thought if I had mitts made out of that, I would have had them on my hands right there.
Couldn't you knit something quickly?
So, but I think that will make a beautiful pair of like cabled mitts or a cabled hat. And I just like the squish in this is unbelievable. And then they also had sock yarn. So this is Jimmy, Hazel, and Friends.
Oh,
Is in this one. And this is 70% wool, 30% mohair, and it's their 3-ply sock. So there's 400 yards in 100 grams. And it's just, again, that soft, squishy, and I can just see a nice textured pair of socks in that.
very nice.
So, okay. And then I've also got some yarn from our friend Heather from Timber Yarns was there. And she just actually launched she's got a new collection of yarns out that are all the provinces and the territories of Canada.
Yes.
So there's 12 different ones, I believe. And she does a regular version and a marled version of each of them.
Okay.
So they're all beautiful. I couldn't decide. So I basically decided based on the colors that I liked. So this first one I got, and again, these are dyed so that you get an exact matching pair of socks. So this one is Alberta. And I pulled in some pictures. So because sometimes you look at this and you don't necessarily know how it's going to knit up.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of pictures here of what the yarn knits up like. So there was Alberta. And those stripes are just beautiful. Like and each of the stripes, like if you go to her website, and I'll link her website in the show notes. If you go to the website, she tells you what each one of the colors represents for that particular province.
Okay.
So she's picked the colors based on something specific to that province. So again, it comes in this, and then she also had her marled version where she dyes the same colors, but on the black and cream marled sock yarn. So then you get a totally different look. So I got that one. And then I also really liked New Brunswick. So this is New Brunswick, and there's what New Brunswick looks like. So I'm really into those greens and that blue, and just really like it. Yeah. So I'm really excited to get those on the needles. And my friend Lisa was telling me about a new sock pattern that she just did. It's actually by Albina McLaughlin, and it incorporates what they call an integrated heel. I don't know if you've heard of that or not. Anyways, I'm going to get a pair started because they'll be good coffee shop knitting, but it's an integrated heel. The pattern, I believe, gives you fingering weight, DK weight, worsted weight, and it goes from like kids up to adults. And your heel, and it also has toe up and top down, cuff down. And the integrated heel looks similar to a heel flap and gusset, but you don't have to do the heel flap back and forth. And there's no picking up the stitches the way there is in a heel flap and gusset. So I'm really interested to try it out.
And is it cuff down or toe up?
The same fit, either. She gives you instructions for both.
I wonder if I've never gone back to dissect that pattern, but I've talked about it, that Melisandre sock, where it was just like magic, and it was toe up, but that heel just came out of nowhere. And it was just pure magic. I should go back and have a look at that too. I'll wait until you're knitting them, and then I'll check it out.
Okay. And Julia said that Jimmy is a Rambouillet sheep. So there we go. I knew it was not merino, but I couldn't remember what it was. But anyway, yeah. So I'm really looking forward to trying out that pattern, because I think, and it doesn't interrupt a self-striping yarn very much. You still keep the color sequence. So that's what I really liked about it too. So yeah. So Reknit says that she's bought the pattern, but she hasn't tried it yet. Yeah, I'm gonna try it. It looks a little bit like a Flegel heel, Candace, but it's still kind of got like that, like how a heel flap has kind of just that straight wedge, and then you've got your heel. But then I'm sure you're building up your gusset the same way you would be building it up when you do the Flegel heel, right? Because you've got to get those increases in there somewhere if you're not picking up stitches along and knitting out. So so I'm interested to try it. Okay. And that was it. And I have to say, if you get a chance, like next year, the weather didn't dampen our spirits at Fergus. It was absolutely freezing cold. I felt sorry more for the vendors than for us, because at least we were walking around, like they're standing in one place for
I think last year too, Fergus was basically underwater for their festival. So they probably we're happier to see cold weather than wet weather.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. But like 70 vendors there, the whole street gets closed off. Yeah, it was lovely. I know that it's been for a few years, but I guess I've never been there, but it was well worth going for the day. And, you know, for us, it wasn't that far. It was like not quite 3-hour drive. And I got to knit the whole way there and back because I didn't have to drive. So thank you, Carrie, for that. So that's where I got a lot of my Riptide tea knitting done. So that's right, Julia. There was pipe bands too, like the guys in their kilts. And I thought, oh, they must be cold with those kilts on. So, yeah. So if you get a chance next year, go.
Oh, what was Albina McLaughlin's sock pattern again?
I believe it's called a basic pattern. I'll link it in the show notes, but I believe it's called a basic pattern with integrated heel.
Okay.
And again, I'm going to start them for next week. So I will be showing them next week. So, and Klaska's probably talking about the Crafty Jackalope probably carries this.
The Bloomchen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the Rico is one that makes a lot of the, like, Make It Tweed and Make It.
Yes. Yeah.
Like all the different ones. They have Make It Neon, Make It Rainbow.
And they have those little minis, and they have a lot of accessories, which, hey, that ties in. There we go.
Yes.
With your condiment.
Yes. This is a condiment. This is not a yarn
condiment.
This is a condiment.
Yes. So from April 1st until June 30th, we have the All About the Condiments Makealong going on in our Ravelry page. And you just add them to your project, and any project will go. It has to have a minimum of 50 grams of yarn, and that can include the condiment. Excuse me. Whips are allowed if they are less than 50% complete at April 1st.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And our sock make along continues. So, you know, we love seeing all the socks in there. So we know that it's actually getting, we think, oh, summer, it's not really going to be season to knit socks, but realistically they're the perfect summer project.
It's the perfect season to knit socks.
There's no weight in your lap, like knitting a big sweater or
That's great.
So, and they're always, no matter what, a perfect take along project because you can stick them in your purse. And, yeah. So you just have to pick ones that aren't all over cabled so that you can do them somewhere else.
Yes, for sure. So also, and we don't have this up yet, but this is just a little heads up to get your head sort of wrapped around something. In July, we're just going to do a quickie little 1 month make along of Christmas in July. And we've already we have some ideas of what we're doing for Christmas in July. And we have a cool prize for it too. But so just get to thinking what you might want to make in July for Christmas in July. It would be really fun to make. You could do Christmas socks. You could do like gnomes. There are some little adventy projects that you could do. There's lots of little
ornaments and
ornaments.
Yep.
Noelle's
and
balls.
Again, that's right. Those are all little projects that are perfect for sitting outside.
Teeny tiny sweaters.
Teeny tiny sweaters. Teeny tiny socks.
Teeny tiny socks. Yes, absolutely.
So
just keep that in mind.
So one last time, we'll say, don't forget that if you really like the Beachside Crew, that you can use the code Beachside Love until midnight tonight to get 20% off Jennifer's pattern. And it's a great pattern, again, adaptable for both long sleeve version, short sleeve version, various different types of yarn that you can knit it in, like wool, cotton, linen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then also, after the show is over, you can go in and tell us which earrings you best like from the website, the Laine de Peche, Peche Mignon, and you'll get a chance to win one of these sets of earrings next week as well.
Yeah, and then don't forget, if you're typing in that it's LAINE.
Yes,
and then the rest of and I will put the correct. I'll put a link right in the show notes. Yeah. Yes. But the show notes will not be up till tomorrow evening. But I will put a link for that in the show notes.
Okay. And if you're looking to buy the earrings, also, she has the 15% off coupon that you can use until June 30th. So, okay. Great.
So I think we're good.
I think we're good. We are an hour and a half tonight. We ran over, but
thank you to everybody for joining us. taking time to spend it with us. Amy, we hope you have an excellent crafty week too. We hope that for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, Tuesday comes so fast, and then
it does.
we try to get all these things done by the next Tuesday.
I have to say, on Tuesday night,
before you know it, it's
I
Monday.
have a whole, I always think, I have a whole week. I will get something finished this week. And then next thing I know, it's Sunday and I'm in a panic and I'm like, I don't have things done. But hopefully, I say this every week, but next week is my last week of work. That's it. At the fairgrounds. So I need a week to get organized for this trip. And we have been filling up the calendar, and I'm telling you, there is not a lot of this year that I am home for the rest of this year.
Know.
I mean, like we are booked all the way through now till the end of December. I've got a music festival coming up. We've got a trip to BC. We've got the trip to the East Coast. We're heading, I'm pretty sure, to Arizona for a few weeks, and there's not a lot of time left over, friends. So anyway, but hopefully it involves some knitting time, and but yes, have a great crafty week, everybody.
Yes, have a great week, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to everybody that watches us after the fact, and we hope we get a chance sometime in the future to meet you all in person.
Absolutely.
And we will see you next week. Happy knitting.